Um, I'm gonna be going to Gainesville soon, so to move my boyfriend back, if that were any fun ever. So I decided, because one night, one of the many nights I couldn't fall asleep, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. Not only for ideas, but also for pleasure. That sounds wrong. It was just... never mind. So, I saw this thing where it was, like, a couple, she's Hispanic or I think Mexican and he's German, and she was saying that a couple things that were kind of hard to do with him, like the language and stuff, and then I watched another one that had Germans talk about stereotypes they know in America, and I thought, hey, why not? So I have 6 things to say. I like an even number. So, I have 6 stereotypes that I know from when I was little. Everyone around me would always say them. And also because of my family, back when I was little, we had like, literally every summer vacation we went over here to the US to visit my grandmom and grandpa, and we would stay in one of their bedrooms and just crash out there. And because I was little, like literally 5 or 6, it didn't matter. But yeah, now having lived through some of these stereotypes, I think I have different ideals, or maybe even I view them differently. So I decided, why not talk about some of them that I totally agree, and just comparing America to Germany. So, one of the first things I probably noticed right away is the fact that Americans are freaking patriotic. Correct me if I'm wrong about, pronouncing that. But yeah, patriotism. That sounds even worse saying out loud. So anyway, here in America you see a lot of houses always having the American flag up on the house, the flag up on their car, flag everywhere. You don't see any of that in Germany. Nobody feels the need to be like, I'm German! Like, nah dude, like we just all live and chill. Like, literally you don't see a single German flag. And I can support this because my boyfriend even says, he didn't see any of that last summer when we went all around Europe. I think we visited Germany, Amsterdam, and Paris. Yeah, it was an expensive trip. To be fair, we just graduated from high school too, so it was kind of like, thanks. Anyway, so patriotism is probably one of the biggest stereotypes that probably everywhere has about America. It's that every American freaking loves their country, or at least a lot of them love to show that they're American with flags, with vocally saying how proud they are to be an American, we live in America, like that kind of stuff. Like, that's not something that really happens in Germany. I'm not sure if it happens in other parts that I've not been into, or if it happens in any other countries, but I just really noticed that being a huge, huge stereotype for the US. That was the first one, so patriotism. Second is, I can highly support this because I know it's true, but at least for those in my life, but I think I also heard it in the video I watched, guns. A lot of Americans own guns, and especially are particular about their right to bear arms. I think that's the constitutional right. It's the right to bear arms. I'm not sure if they're outlawed in Germany, which is probably, I could have looked it up, but why bother, be prepared for a video, just kidding. If you ask me, I don't think most German families own guns, or at least we don't say that as such a proud thing. Like, if you own a gun, yeah, you may, but you're not gonna be all like, so, I got a gun on the back. You don't look at it. That's more of an American thing. Like, when you talk about anything political, gun ownership gonna come up. Yeah, that's my second point. Guns is a huge stereotype of Americans for where I come from. The video I watched, a lot of people said guns is a stereotype. Americans love their guns, not only guns in general, but again, they're right. And I think part of it has to do with, if you have a right that's been stated on a piece of paper for that many years, it's something you're incredibly proud of and you really stick to. But yeah, no, I just think that part of the reason that Americans are so proud of gun ownership and being able to own guns is because they're probably one of the only nations that still does it and lets their citizens have free will of it. But I don't know. You're just asking someone. But yeah, gun ownership is definitely a huge stereotype. Where I come from. Thirdly, we have poorly educated. Now, that is not really a correctly stated stereotype we have, but Germans do know that our educational system is much tougher than the American. So, in Germany, I left when I was in like 6th grade, so I finished 6th grade there, I think. And we go by numbers rather than letters for grading, so instead of A, B, C, D, F, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I never would get like anything better than a 3 in my math classes because it was such a hard, everything was taught at a really high level. It may have also been just part of the reason that my math teacher at the time was like a math whiz and I was like not at all. So for me it was like, you got to explain this to me step by step. Tell me why X goes there and B goes there. But I don't know if I just wasn't interested, but I definitely know that education is much, much tougher in Germany. Especially where I come from, it's just a lot tougher. It's, well, not tougher, but our educational system ranks up a lot higher. So like the things that you guys are taught, or well, that some American schools may teach at 4th grade, German kids will learn a little younger. Just because it's like, come on. Efficiency. But yeah. So not necessarily poorly educated, just that the educational system seems to have kind of moved back a little bit, and like we're giving our kids a longer stretch of time to learn materials. So I guess that either they can thoroughly learn it, or B, you don't have to put as much money into education because you don't need that many resources at that low levels. So like elementary school, middle school, and high school, which are all government funded, I think at least. I know a lot. They don't need to have as much like resources in order to teach their kids than say universities, because universities are gonna teach really high up stuff where you're gonna need some stuff to teach these kids. And that stuff is already taught in like middle school and high school in Germany. So I guess you could say that part of the reason education may be moving a little slower in the US could be because government wants to save a little bit, but that's honestly just a somewhat theory. But yes. So poorly educated is my third point. Again, not necessarily poorly educated, just that education moves at a different speed here. The stuff they learned in 4th grade, or they learned in 6th grade, we learn in 4th grade. And that is just judging off of where I am here in the US versus where I was in Germany. And I also didn't do like 7th, 8th, or 9th grade in Germany, so I don't know what they're taught there. I can only judge of what I did learn there and what my friends have experienced versus what I did do here and what my friends experienced here. So, yes. 4th. Okay, so I don't actually know about this one because in the video they just said that, but it did ring a bell in me because I do notice a difference of behaviors in when I'm here versus when I'm in Germany. Fake niceties and being really polite. So fake niceties kind of connects to being polite because it's like, in Germany, you are polite, but if you're gonna bump into one another at a grocery store, you don't care. You just walk past. My boyfriend the other day was telling me like, oh yeah, I remember being in the grocery store, and some older guy bumped into me, and he goes, oh yeah, sorry. And the guy didn't even bother, didn't even look at him, didn't pay attention, was just, because they don't care. They're like, buddy, like, I don't give a damn. Unless I'm hurt, physically, it don't bother me. But over here, it's like if you run into someone, it's like, oh, sorry, it's all okay, oh, okay, have a good day, bye. It's all about being polite. However, there's also a part of fake niceties. Because you're so polite, some Americans, from my experiences, have definitely been a little bit like, you'll hang out with them one night, and then, you know, that night, like, say, tonight you're hanging out with a couple of friends, and you all seem to kind of, like, get along, and then one person says, alright, let's do this again, and the others are like, yeah, sure. And then no one speaks to each other again. that's the fake nicety. It's not like, yeah, tonight was nice, but, you know, I've got stuff to do. Like, it was cool, but it probably won't happen again. Like, just letting that vibe settle in, rather than overplaying it and pretending to actually care about one another, or to actually want to spend more time with one another. Here in the US, it's definitely a lot more fake niceties of like, oh yeah, let's meet up again. Like, you already know it's not happening. People are just being like, yeah, just, you know, being nice, but it has to have its limits of like, it was super cool hanging out with you today, but honestly, dude, like, I didn't really feel like we clicked that much, and I'm not sure if you felt like we clicked that much, but I don't really feel it, and if I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably not gonna hang out that much with a person I don't click that much, but we can definitely chat. Like, that kind of stuff is definitely still being polite, but it's also being direct, like, hey, don't waste your time on me, but we can always snap. Anyway, that's something that I definitely recognize, because in Germany, I've kind of taken that nicety because I really like it. So I am still that nice in Germany. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. Like, I literally say it all the time. And now I know that's... You're not supposed to say that if you're part of the Me Too movement, which, by the way, kind of, but not really. Like, that's something else. But for me, it's like, I always want to be nice, because the way... My phrasing's off tonight, ain't it? So, I'm gonna treat the people how I want them to treat me. That's kind of like the saying that hit me hard, like in the fields a couple years ago, and I was like, yeah, I want to be like that. I don't want someone to just ignore me. If I'm looking around in Publix, and I see someone looking at me, I'm gonna smile and be nice to them. Because I'm like, if I'm looking around and someone looks at me, I'm gonna be happy if they smile at me. That makes me feel less awkward. That makes me feel less like I did something bad for looking around and happening to lock eyes with someone. Like, it's not like I meant to. It's not like I was like, you know, like scanning the room, hoping to catch someone look around. No, I was just... Anyway. Second to last, we have the American dream. That is a humongous stereotype in Germany. We all know. And now, don't even lie, no matter where you are in the US, no matter where you're in the world, you know that America goes by the American dream. You know, the whole white picket fence, all that stuff. That is so true. It is such a stereotype to live that perfect life where both mom and dad do what they love, and kids are super, super happy. Like, it's the American dream. It's literally pictured as such. But it's not at all what happens. We all know we end up having to take a crappy job, at least at a start, that we don't like, that we don't love. And we're like, man, sure I'm not loving this, but I guess I'm gonna suck it up to get some money, get some practice, and get a better job. You all move yourself up the ladder. And it's just, that's definitely a huge stereotype of like, do what you love, follow your dreams, you can do it. And that's super true for a lot of people. But for others, it's like, if you want to become the freaking, I don't know, first person doing something major, like walking on the moon, lower your expectations a lot. You're probably gonna be happy, for sure, if you're not interested in science of any way, shape, or form. You're gonna have to be happy if you're like cleaning up in NASA building or whatever. If you're the janitor, like, you're gonna have to settle for that if you're not into any scientific or technology things. You're gonna have to lower your standards. And that's pretty much it for most things you're gonna want to do in life. Even if you want to become a veterinarian, which I think is, my apologies, is the vet. Yeah, that's the vet. My hair is somewhat curly, it's cute. Like, if you want to become a veterinarian, you're gonna have to go in with the expectation of study a lot, do your work, get an internship over the summer or throughout school to get some practice in there, because people are gonna want to see that. Then always be nice, and don't effing act like you better than anyone else. I'm learning these lessons from my friends. 'Cause Hope got a job. I'm so proud of her. But that's definitely something, like, the American dream is just always follow your dream, do what you love, do what you want, like, you can do it. These kind of things is definitely something that is more like you kind of expect when you live here, or at least, I guess, when you hear of the US, that's what you think of, like, oh, the American dream. Doing what you love, doing what you want. The movie title. Then the last thing I kind of have, but I'm not sure that relates to anything else. I think that's more of a, if you actually compare two places, so everything's bigger. Cars, roads, food, everything. And a great comparison is food. On a plate, like in the US, not only can some plates be just like generally bigger to fit more food, but they're so crammed, jam-packed with food. In Germany, we're like 1, 2, 3. That's your food in, I don't know, this kind of plate. But it's definitely less food. We have smaller cars, generally speaking. Like, I usually never see a truck drive around unless you're close to a farm or some like major work site where people are gonna have to load a lot of things in their car. And I also, like, the roads are super, super tiny. I personally did not really notice this, but my friend Sarah, well, my best friend back home, she's always like, dude, the streets are so tiny. It's not it's not really a matter of, oh, am I still like inside the lines? Like, do I still have space? It's, are you inside the lines? Because otherwise you get in a crash. Like, it's that jam-packed. And so I'm like, yeah, no, things are definitely bigger here versus Germany. And probably part of it is just that people don't care enough to, or well, I don't know actually why it is, but I can imagine it's part of the fact that we want to keep our greens, which is definitely not where I'm from, or well, I live here in the US. It's definitely not a motto of keeping green. None of that is happening. But in my hometown in Germany, you can see hills of green. The German dream. But yeah, so that's some of my stereotypes. Patriotism, gun owning, poorly educated, fake niceties, the American dream, and everything is bigger. Those were my 6 niceties, yep. Those are my 6 stereotypes. Now, of course I know I only know some part of the US. I only know some part of Germany. I can only judge it off of that and the video I saw. But those are mine, and yeah. So, thank you so much for... Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. Not only what you agree and don't agree with, but also what you like to see me do next, because believe it or not, pretty helpful. So anyway, thanks, and as you beautiful people know, come back next Friday at 3 p.m.